Okay, so we will continue our lecture, and we get this. Okay, we get this formula, yeah, for our fluid flow equation. And now we want to define a new term. It's a very important parameter for simulation, especially. It's about transmissibility. Yeah, it's called transmissibility. Transmissibility here. This is the coefficient in front of the pressure difference. So we have this pressure difference, yeah, P at I plus 1 minus PI, and everything in front of this pressure difference we call transmissibility. So now we will talk about transmissibility, this one. So transmissibility, the parameter in front of the pressure difference, okay, in front of pressure difference. This pressure difference, Pi plus 1 minus Pi, and then Pi minus Pi minus 1. The parameter in front of the pressure difference, we call it transmissibility. Okay? This one. So transmissibility at X, transmissibility in X direction, I plus half, it's 2 divided by delta Xi multiplied by delta X I plus 1 plus delta Xi. Okay, and then multiplied by something here. K per viscosity multiplied by formation volume factor at I plus half. That's for plus direction, and the minus direction, yeah, plus direction to the right, ke kanan, minus direction to the left. Okay, it's like this. So inside the transmissibility, we have K, we have permeability, we have mu, viscosity. So it's a very, very important term for fluid flow. Yeah. To describe the performance of fluid flow, permeability and viscosity, transmissibility. We will use transmissibility a lot in our reservoir simulation. Okay, then using transmissibility, the difference form of the flow term in partial differential equation becomes, so this is the initial equation, and using transmissibility, okay, we can rewrite the above equation to get this below equation. But you see, it's approximation because we exclude the error. So we don't have the error term here. Yeah. So now it's ddx k per mu b dp dx equals to transmissibility multiplied by pressure difference, and then the next one, transmissibility multiplied by pressure difference. Yeah, so transmissibility is very important. It describes the fluid flow performance in our reservoir. Okay, so using T, X direction at cell I plus half as example, okay, the transmissibility consists of 3 groups of parameter. Yeah, this one, 2 plus delta X multiplied by something, it's actually constant, yeah. Ini constant. It's a constant. And then K at I plus half, okay, we can call it K bar. It's a function of X. Yeah. And then we know that, yeah, because we have transmissibility, yeah, this is the equation for transmissibility. So we have this part, and then we have this part. Yeah. And we know that 1 per mu b at this grid block, I plus half, we can rewrite it as 1 per mu b bar is a function of pressure. Okay. So we have this one constant, and know that the permeability, The permeability is a function of X, and 1 per mu B is a function of pressure. So constant, fungsi X, and fungsi pressure. We therefore need to determine the forms of two letter groups before proceeding to the numerical solution. Yeah, because we have here function of X, function of pressure. Now we use Darcy equation. So Darcy equation, flow rate equals to minus K permeability multiplied by the cross-sectional area divided by viscosity multiplied by formation volume factor multiplied by pressure gradient. So by the way, if you if you rewrite K divided by area, it's actually equals to velocity U. So you can also describe Darcy equation to be like this. Pressure gradient. Yeah. So we can use Q, flow rate, or we can also use U, yeah, velocity. Now, for flow between two grid blocks, yeah, we have grid block this one and we grid block this one. Yeah. Starting from I plus half, and I plus 1. And this is the length, yeah, half multiplied by dxi. Okay. We will assume that the flow is steady state. Is if the flow is steady state, then Q constant and K is dependent on the position. Yeah, because K is a function of position X. The equation may be rewritten X. Yeah, this equation can be rewritten as Q dx per K equals to minus A dp per mu B. For example, yeah, Q dx can go to the left, okay, and then K goes to the left. So we have Q dx per K equals to minus, and then yeah, A dp and then mu B. Yeah, you understand, right? You just rewrite this one to be like this one. Okay, just follow the thinking. Yeah, just follow the thinking, and then we want to do the integration. So starting from this one, we can integrate. Okay, do the integration. Dx per K integrate from I to I plus 1, and dp per mu B integrate from I to I plus 1. So by doing the integration, the left side may be integrated in parts over the two blocks in our discrete system, okay, each having constant permeability. Okay, so two parts. The first one is this one. So Q integration of dx per K, yeah, Q per 2, okay, and then dx, because the integration of dx is delta x, yeah, delta x. So delta xi per ki, because the starting point of the integration is I, plus, okay, I plus 1. Okay, so if you integrate left hand side, you can get this form. Okay, and then we may write and define average permeability K bar, okay, and rewrite like this one. Okay, so Q per 2 delta xi per ki plus delta xi plus 1 per ki plus 1. We can rewrite the numerator is delta xi plus delta xi plus 1. The denominator is K bar, and the K bar, K average, can be actually K average is this one, which is actually harmonic average of permeability. Okay, because you know that the grid size is not uniform ya. Karena grid size-nya tidak uniform, ada yang panjang, ada yang pendek gitu, ada yang tebal, ada yang tipis. So the best method to average is using harmonic average. That's why we have this average permeability. Okay. In terms of our grid block system, we then have the following expression for the harmonic average. Yeah. So actually, K average, which is K at I plus half, okay, here, yeah, flow between two grid blocks, yeah, here, I plus half. So if you have this one and two grid blocks, and this location is I plus half, so the permeability at this location, yeah, is K at I plus half, and this is actually K bar, yeah, and K bar, the harmonic average of permeability is this one. So if you have this one, okay, half delta xi, and this one half delta xi plus 1, you can calculate the permeability at this location. Okay, that's for plus direction, and for the minus direction is this one, K at I minus half. Okay, that's for the transmissibility and permeability issue of the fluid flow equation. Okay, and now we talk about fluid mobility. Now, by the way, yeah, we move a lot. Yeah, we say that we want to integrate in parts in over two blocks. We solve this one, yeah, the permeability, and now we want to solve this one, the fluid mobility. Yeah, fluid mobility. We want to integrate the right hand side, this one, and we have minus a integration from I to I plus 1 dp per mu formation volume factor. Replacing the fluid parameters by mobility, yeah. Now I want to define mobility lambda, which is 1 per mu b. I call that lambda, mobility. And letting mobility be a weak function of pressure, and assuming that the pressure gradient between block centers to be constant, we find that the weighted average of the block's mobility terms is representative of the average. Yeah, so lambda is a function of pressure, but it's a weak function of pressure. Jadi mobilitas itu bergantung sama tekanan, tapi tidak terlalu bergantung ya. Kebergantungannya itu lemah. Lambda, fluid mobility, is a weak function of pressure. And we assume that pressure gradient between block centers to be constant. Okay. So if we have some grid blocks, yeah, we have grid block 1, 2, and 3, and we have here. So the pressure gradient, yeah, pressure gradient here and here is constant. Yeah, pressure gradient between block centers. First, we will define the fluid mobility term as lambda, yeah, fluid mobility. And then the average mobility terms like this. Yeah, it's just arithmetic, yeah, arithmetic average for plus direction and minus direction. Because the pressure gradient between the block centers constant, okay, so we can use arithmetic average. Ya, karena kita assume sebelumnya bahwa pressure gradient between block center itu konstan, jadi kita bisa melakukan weighted average ya, atau arithmetic average. We use weighted average of the block mobility terms and we get this form, weighted average. Okay, mobility multiplied by the thickness. Yeah, that's the weighted average mobility. Okay, so that's how we do for this part. Yeah, we solve this one and we also discuss about that. Yeah, this one talking about transmissibility or the Darcy equation. I mean the Darcy equation, and then we go further. Now we want to solve the right hand side of the fluid flow equation. Yeah, this is the left hand side, LHS, and then this is the right hand side. Now we talk about the right hand side, the fluid mobility term. The discretization of the right side term, yeah, this one, porosity multiplied by rho compressibility divided by B plus D 1 per B by dP, dP dt, we do backward difference approximation. Okay, we want to express the partial differential equation dP dt using the difference form to be like this one. Again, this is the partial differential equation, the left hand side, and we want to do an approximation to get that difference form. Yeah. So this is the partial differential equation, yeah, PDE. This one is finite difference. Yeah, finite difference. The left hand side, the partial differential equation. But this one is finite difference with backward approximation. So Pi minus Pi at T divided by delta T. Okay, we will now define a storage coefficient. Yeah, storage coefficient CPI, porosity I divided by delta T, CR per B, this one. This is called storage coefficient. And the right side approximation becomes this one. We can simplify to be this one. So storage coefficient multiplied by the pressure change. Yeah, pressure change. By the way, I said before that I want to simplify here. For convenience, we will drop the time index for unknown pressure so that if no time index specified, it is actually T plus delta T. Okay, so this is actually, this is P at T plus delta T. Yeah, just to simplify, the right-hand side approximation becomes CPI multiplied by pressure difference, PI at T plus delta T minus PI at T. Thus, the difference form of the single phase flow equation, okay, is for the for convenience, the approximation sign is hereafter replaced by equal sign. We can express now it's like this. So let me show it to you again to make it clearer. Okay. So wait a minute. We have this one. This is the finite difference. Finite difference. Finite difference form. And the original form is actually, let me take the original analytical equation, this one. Wait a minute. Okay, here. So I convert this one, yeah. It's PDE, partial differential equation. Now I change it to finite difference. So you know the difference, yeah. This is the analytical approach. Analytical approach. And the lower one is the numerical approach, yeah. Analytical approach, numerical approach. Partial differential equation, finite difference. So you see, we have flow rate here. It goes to there, yeah. And then we have this one. This is the storage coefficient. We call CPI, storage coefficient. And we have dPdt, change it, approximation to be pressure change. Okay. And the left-hand side, this part, you can express it to be transmissibility. And we have dPdx. It's also a pressure difference, Pi plus 1 minus Pi. Yeah, so you change the analytical form, the calculus, the partial differential equation, you change it to numerical approach. Yeah, numerical approach, the finite difference. But you drop the error term. Ya, kita buang errornya supaya simple aja penulisannya. Ya, we just drop the error term to make the writing simpler. Ya, so you change from partial differential equation. It's difficult for the computer to use differential integration. It's better for the computer to use finite difference because we have plus, minus, multiply, and division. Ya, komputer software lebih suka melakukan perhitungan dalam plus, minus, bagi, kali. Ya, so you change from analytical partial differential equation to finite difference. So that's the big idea. Itulah ide besarnya dari simulasi. Okay? Yeah, that's the big idea behind the numerical computation, numerical reservoir simulation. Now, after getting the flow equation, of course, we will talk about boundary condition and also the production injection term. Yeah, because we have Q, production injection term. So we talk about boundary condition and we will talk about also production injection term. Let's read it together. Yeah, we have previously discussed the two types of boundary conditions that we can assign. The first one is pressure specification. We call this Dirichlet condition. And the second one is rate condition. We call this Neumann condition. Okay. And for the simple one-phase equation that we considered initially, we assume this to be specified at either end of the system and derives corresponding approximation of the flow term of these grid blocks. Yeah. For the simple one-phase equation that we consider initially, we assume to be specified at either end of the system. So if we have this rock, ya, jika kita punya this rock, this second bullet tells us about we set at the left or at the right, we impose something. Ya, kita nyatakan di original case kita bahwa laju alir di kiri berapa, laju alir di kanan berapa, itu kita tentukan. Ya, itu diskusi-diskusi kita sebelumnya. Ya, kalau kita punya sistem batuan, kita nyatakan kondisi di kiri, di ujung, ya, di end of system, ya, ujung-ujungnya itu kita tentukan berapa. So previously we say at either end of the system, ya, the left or the right, we impose something, for example, flow rate from the left, flow rate from the right. Yeah, that's what we discussed previously. However, in reservoir simulation, the boundary conditions normally are no flow boundaries at the end phases of the reservoir. And production or injection wells where either rate or pressure are specified located at any of the grid blocks. So it's like this. So let me, if we have reservoir simulation here, okay. Usually in our reservoir simulation, this boundary will be no flow boundary. Ya, for example, sealing fault ya, patahan, or maybe pinch out, or maybe facies or permeability barrier. So usually this is no flow boundary. So Q equals to 0. Ya, ini pada kondisi pemodelan kita pada umumnya reservoir itu memiliki boundary yang no flow Q, and maybe we have production well here. And maybe we have production well here, or maybe we also have injector here. So it's injector I, this one is P producer, and we have boundaries, but the boundaries are no flow boundaries. Maybe sealing fault, maybe pinch out, yeah. Yeah. Again, however, in reservoir simulation, the boundary conditions normally are no flow boundaries, yeah, at the end phases of the reservoir, and production or injection wells where either rate or pressure are specified, located in any of the grid block, yeah. So we can have producer or injector in any of the grid block, yeah. And the pressure or the flow rate, sometimes it's not specified, ya. Seringkali tekanan maupun laju alir di sumur itu tidak dispesifikasikan. Bisa seperti itu di ketika kita simulasikan, tapi bisa juga kita spesifikkan berapa laju alirnya gitu ya, atau berapa tekanannya kita spesifikkan tuh bisa juga. Now we talk about no flow boundaries. No flow at the boundaries are assigned by giving respective transmissibility a zero value at that point. Yeah. So no flow boundary in simulation, the simulator we can use transmissibility equals to 0 here. Yeah. Transmissibility equals to 0. No transmissibility. That's why we have no flow boundary. Yeah. This is the default condition. For our one-dimensional system, this type of condition will, for example, be applied to the two end blocks so that here transmissibility is 0. Okay, so if we have here transmissibility on the left, T at x1 per 2, yeah, half equals to 0. And here the transmissibility x at n plus half equals to 0. So on the left and on the right, the transmissibility are 0, no flow. That's for our one-dimensional system. We will now introduce a well term in our difference equation so that it becomes, yeah, remember we have flow rate, yeah, flow rate term. The flow rate comes from well. Ya, jadi laju alir ini pasti berasal dari sumur. Kita punya equation, di dalam equation itu ada flow rate, ada Q, dan pertanyaannya Q ini datang dari mana? Ya, Q itu pasti datangnya dari sebuah sumur. Ya, Q itu pasti berasal dari sebuah sumur. Entahkah dia dari sumur producer atau dari sumur injektor. Ya, jadi by the way, kan ini kita punya persamaan satu dimensi. Ya, one dimensional. We only have X direction. Ya, if we have two dimensional, ini dua dimensi, then we will have Tx and Ty. Kita punya Tx dan kita punya Ty. Tapi masing-masing dalam persamaan fluid flow kita pasti ada Q. Nah, Q-nya berasal dari mana? Q-nya pasti berasal dari sumur, either producer or injector. Yeah, so we will introduce a well term in our difference equation. So the Q comes from well. The well rate term will be 0. The well rate term will be 0 for all blocks that do not have a well in it, and non-zero where there is a well. Yeah. So Q in all blocks will be 0 if the block does not have well. But if there is well in that block, then it will not be 0. Since our equation is formulated on a per volume basis, the flow rate Qi must also be on a per volume basis. Ya, so it's per volume, not per mass. Ya, jadi ini per volume, bukan per massa. It is defined as a positive for production well, ya, positive for production well, and negative for injection well. That's the convention. Now, constant well production rate Qi. For a constant well rate of Qi at surface condition, ya, be careful, it's big Q, ya, Q besar. We use this one for surface flow rate, which is the most common well rate specification. The per volume rate becomes this one. Okay, per volume. So Qi is surface condition, ya, surface flow rate. So per volume, Qi divided by area multiplied by delta X, because area multiplied by delta X is volume. Ya, area dibagi panjang itu adalah volume. So Qi, this one, is flow rate at surface condition divided by area multiplied by delta X of the grid. Okay, delta X. If the well is specified to have a constant well rate of Qi at reservoir condition, then the per volume rate becomes here. We have formation volume factor. Okay, remember ya, B formation volume factor is volume at reservoir condition divided by volume at surface condition. Okay. Now that's for constant well production rate. Now constant well bottom hole pressure. For a well producing or injected at a constant bottom hole pressure, the well rate is computed using this form, the following equation. Yeah. So this one. Now we express Qi to be this one. So WC multiplied by lambda multiplied by pressure difference. Okay, Pi minus P bottom hole. Okay, reservoir pressure minus bottom hole pressure. And WC is the well constant. Ya, WC itu adalah well constant. You can also call WC as productivity or injectivity index. And WCI the same on per volume basis. Yeah, so big WC divided by A delta X, it becomes small WC. Yeah. The well constant may be specified externally based on productivity or injectivity test of the well, or it may be computed from Darcy equation. Yeah, so you can use productivity index or injectivity index from well testing, or you can calculate using Darcy equation ya untuk mendapatkan WC ya, to get the WC well constant. Ya. Well constant it's actually productivity index or injectivity index. Okay, that's if you have constant bottom hole pressure. So this one becomes constant. PBHI, pressure bottom hole, ya. Jika itu constant, kita bisa menyatakan flow rate term seperti ini. Previously, yang constant ya. Previously the constant one is production rate. So we can use this form. But now if we have bottom hole pressure being constant, now we can express using this form ya. Kita bisa pakai tergantung kasusnya, apakah flow rate-nya konstan atau bottom hole pressure-nya konstan. Ya, tergantung ini seperti boundary condition, apakah kita akan pakai Dirichlet condition atau kita akan pakai Newman condition. Oke, we continue. Constant well bottom hole pressure. If the well is in the middle of the grid block, one may assume radial flow into the well with block volume as the drainage volume. Yeah, so we can calculate the well constant using this equation. So 2 pi permeability multiplied by thickness divided by logarithmic natural of RE divided by RW. Okay, RW is wellbore radius and RE is the drainage radius, theoretically calculated by using this one. Yeah, so if you have like this, you have delta X, you have delta Y or divided by pi, and then calculate the square root, you get the drainage radius. Yeah, that's if the well is in the middle of the grid block and we want to assume radial flow. Yeah, middle of the grid block, assume radial flow. In reservoir simulation, this formula normally written like this one. Okay, C may vary depending on well location inside the grid block, and the commonly used formula is by Pisman. We can calculate RE 0.2 multiplied by this one. Okay, that's for drainage radius. Okay,